All right, members, we're getting ready to start our March membership meeting presented by Richmond Bates, a treasurer and member of the club. He's going to be doing a program on the history of the Downeaster. So off we go.
Okay, this is the Downeaster. This is our hometown passenger train. Goes by just a mile away from our meeting place here in Cumberland. Downeaster first started in December 2001. So later this year, it'll celebrate its 25th anniversary. I moved to Maine from New Jersey in 2015, so most of the pictures that you'll see here tonight are since 2015. I took all the photos here except two, I believe, which you'll be able to see. So this is the route, Brunswick through Portland on down to Boston. This map got some of the lines in gray down in the bottom here, purporting to show connecting Amtrak service farther south from Boston. It's a little fanciful because the map makes it look like there's another Amtrak route coming into North Station in Boston, but Downeaster is the only Amtrak service that actually goes into North Station. Passengers needing to connect to other Amtrak trains need to make their way to South Station or to Back Bay Station. And this even seems to show a line from, looks like Providence to Worcester. But if anybody wanted to ride a train there, they'd have to hop on a freight train. So starting with some of the history, this is passenger service before the Downeaster. This is back in the good old days, 1951. This appears to be a through train from Bangor down to Boston. It's pulling out of Portland Union Station. The Maine Central service didn't last too much longer after this. Maine Central passenger service was abandoned in 1960. So that ended service north of Portland. And soon after that, Portland Union Station was torn down. Although the big office building there, the Maine Central office building, is still standing and has a lot of small businesses in it now. But Boston and Maine continued running RDCs from Boston to Portland. So this is a schedule from 1963. Let's see, at that time they had 3 trains a day, Boston to Portland. About 2 hours and 15 minutes, so a reasonably speedy schedule. The Boston and Maine service ended in 1965. And after that, there was a long hiatus with no passenger service on this line. In the 1980s, more of a grassroots effort in Maine to try to restore passenger service. Train Riders Northeast was formed as a lobbying group. They eventually convinced the Maine legislature to set up the Northern New England Passenger Rail Authority, or NEPRA, which would provide a subsidy for Amtrak service, which is what Amtrak needed to restore service. And there was a long period of trying to make preparations. First, Guilford was opposing it. They had had a bad experience with Amtrak on their Connecticut River line, but eventually NEPRA, Amtrak, Guilford, MBTA all came together. So this is the first Downeaster timetable, December 15, 2001. 4 trains a day. This was 2 hours and 45 minutes, Portland to Boston. This early, let's see. Wonder, maybe I can move this so you can see here. The Saco station had not yet opened. They weren't stopping in Old Orchard Beach because that was going to be a seasonal summer stop. And footnote for Durham says it only stops there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you'll see the equipment. There's Coastal Club Service, which was the business, what they called the business class, and cafe service. It's specialty regional menu, which essentially still applies today. Yeah, I'll move this back over here if you want. Okay, we're up to 2011. We're up to 5 trains a day. The track has been improved some, so it's a 2.5-hour trip, Portland to Boston. And then soon, a few years after that, service was extended on to Brunswick. This is a 26, let's see, this is still, so I can see the entry. 2016, it still needed to service the trains overnight in Portland, so they weren't able to have all 5 trains through to Brunswick. But let's see, 2016, that's about the time I moved to Maine. Soon after that, NEPRA, Amtrak were able to open a layover facility in Brunswick. And so now all 5 trains come all the way to Brunswick. And NEPRA does a pretty good job of publicity, I think. Downeaster is one of the few Amtrak trains that gets a printed timetable. Elsewhere on Amtrak, you just have to look online for the schedules. And NEPRA was printing timetables in multiple languages. The French in the middle, that perhaps makes some sense because a lot of the tourists from Quebec like to come down to Maine. The one on the right, I think, is Indonesian, which is a strange one. I don't know why they happened to do that one. But so we'll look at equipment that runs on the train. This is what it typically looks like currently. If you're here at Brunswick, the cab car on the south end usually. That's a former F40 diesel where the prime mover has been removed. It looks like it was set up to handle checked baggage, but Downeaster doesn't carry checked baggage. So, and then there are 4 Amfleet cars, 3 coaches, and a combination business class cafe, and a diesel locomotive on the north end. So going down to Boston, the locomotive's pushing. Some of the variations in the locomotives over the years. This was a paint scheme they were using in 2015. And Amtrak painted several locomotives in a 50th anniversary paint scheme. And some of those were running on the Downeaster. So this was 2022. The Amtrak started in 1971, so the 50th anniversary was 2021. Here's another version of the 50th anniversary, still in Brunswick. Another view of that. And this was a couple of years ago. This was a new Amtrak paint scheme, although trains I've seen recently are still mostly the blue, older blue paint scheme. And Amtrak keeps at least one locomotive and coach, usually some other equipment, parked at Portland to serve as protecting equipment in case there's a breakdown. This was kind of an oddity parked there. Said it was a GP 38-2. And it was actually pressed into service here last year, one day. I saw the engineer here and asked him, and he said the regular locomotive wasn't working, so they brought out this GP 38. Sometimes there'll be a diesel locomotive on the south end, and as you see here, they do also do some decorations for the holiday season. I think they normally try to avoid the locomotive on the south end to avoid diesel fumes in the train shed at South Station in Boston, North Station in Boston. 2024, Amtrak replaced one of the, well, before this, consist was usually 5 Amfleet cars, 4 coaches in the combination cafe business class. But in 2024, they replaced one of the Amfleet coaches with a Horizon car like this with the smooth sides. But these were newer than the Amfleet cars. The Amfleet cars were almost as old as Amtrak, I guess. But the Horizon cars were several decades old, but they soon developed mechanical problems, cracks or something, and they had to be removed from service. And after that, the Downeaster was down to normally 4 cars a day. There's this variation in paint scheme that I saw. The cafe car is a nice feature on the train. Downeaster is unusual. I believe it's the only Amtrak train where the food service is provided by an outside vendor. Other Amtrak trains, the food service crew are Amtrak employees, but in the early years on the Downeaster, the contractor was Epicurean Feast. And if you can read some of the writing here, they did include some local specialties. You see legal seafood clam chowder. And down on the bottom, they had Maine blueberry crisp and Boston coffee cake. This doesn't list the beverages, but they had shipyard beer. The current contractor is Nextdyne. So this is a recent menu, still some local specialties. I see Deep River potato chips and Wilbur's of Maine candy, whoopie pie, and they'll still have there's Maine craft beers.
Scallops.
I see scallops, you said? Yeah, that's a little much for the cafe car, I think, to put scallops on the menu. Yeah, everything's of course just prepared in the microwave pretty much. Um, let's see. I wonder if I move these guys back over here. Um, in the fall, Amtrak and MBTA and the Massachusetts segment have to clear leaves off the track. So in the fall, they run this train that sprays some kind of solution on the track to keep the leaves and the grease from the leaves off the track. This was a different version. So most of what I'll show you is scenes along the route. I'll start the Brunswick end. Brunswick built a big station building, includes waiting room and visitor center. And sometimes we'll see some freight activity alongside the Downeaster. It's kind of rare. There's not too much freight activity along the Downeaster line. So that's one reason why the Downeaster has a pretty good on-time record. Doesn't have too much freight train interference. But this day, 5 years ago, Canadian Pacific was running the Rockland branch. And so that went by while the Downeaster was getting ready to depart that morning. There's Canadian Pacific again. Let's see. And here's the first grade crossing south of the Brunswick station. Looks like in this case, the engine is pushing away from us here. Same grade crossing there. It's one of the 50th anniversary paint schemes. This is 2016. So this is when the layover facility in Brunswick was under construction. It was delayed by objections from the homeowners in the area. The people with the homes close to here were afraid it would be noisy. So, but eventually they got all the necessary approvals. This was when there was some cement traffic in the Rockland branch, so that interchanges with, at that point, Pan Am. Here's the other photo I didn't take. This is the inside of the layover facility. Before this, all the nightly maintenance had to be done outdoors in Portland. Downeaster schedule needs 3 train sets. 2 of them make 2 round trips a day, and then one makes 1 round trip a day. So all 3 train sets can be serviced in here. This is between Brunswick and Freeport. There's the Freeport station. A lot of the stations are like this, pretty modest platforms. Train approaching the Freeport station. Don't have any photos for you from Cumberland itself. We're on down to Portland. I think the line through the neighborhoods north side of Portland is kind of interesting. Here we're passing Brighton Avenue in Portland. This is that same train. This was on the rear end, so I don't know the story here. I usually hadn't seen that paint scheme on the Downeaster. I guess it's being moved down to Boston for servicing.
Right. Right.
And this is, sorry. Woodford Street in Portland. And on down to the where Portland Union Station used to be. The building on the right is the kind of sorry-looking strip mall that replaced Union Station. And on my left, this would be the county jail. So the Portland Station is off the main line. It's on the former Mountain Division line. So Downeasters have to do a backup move to get in and out of the Portland Station. So here's a train. It's left the main line and heading into the Portland Station. I think they managed the backup move pretty efficiently, I think, but it does add about 15 minutes to the time of the that's what? That's right. Yeah, Alan was asking about Mercy Hospital. Yeah, that. Well, the next the next screen will show you that. So this is that. I think that same train now leaving the Portland Station, heading back onto the main line. So NEPRA wants to move the Downeaster station back to the main line, which right now the station is up here on this branch line. And this was a couple of years ago, NEPRA undertook a, let's see, we still have a big, yeah. NEPRA undertook a big study to pick a preferred location for a new station in Portland. And so the locations marked here, 1, 2, and 3 were candidates for station sites. The first one you see is just north of Congress Street. The second one in the middle is very close to where the old Union Station was. And the third one is a little bit south, which is next to Mercy Hospital, Alan was asking about. NEPRA decided they preferred the location number 3. So it's just south of the branch. They, if they build a new station here, they'd probably still use some servicing facilities at the old station location. So I think now the issue is just raising money to get to build a new station. Moving on to South Portland, just view from the Route 1 overpass here. And here the train is, this is the rear going in past Rigby Yard. A lot of these photos are taken when I was out excursions with Mike Bates, a fellow 470 member. He's here tonight, and that's Mike up on the bridge there. That's the Route 1 overpass there. This is 2023. So the Downeaster route kind of skirts around Rigby Yard there. So this was right after CSX had acquired Pan Am, and they were doing a lot of replacing a lot of the track in Rigby Yard. You see some track workers down in the bottom left corner there. Yeah, it is going through Rigby Yard. It is in Scarborough. There's no station stop in Scarborough. View from the overpass, so that's the Scarborough Marsh. Considered maybe one of the more scenic spots along the route, although generally this is not a real scenic route between Portland and Boston. Going through Old Orchard Beach, which is a seasonal stop for the Downeaster. This was off season, so you don't see anybody around here. But you see the amusement park at the beach there. Yeah. Saco Station, train coming in. This is basically on an island between Saco and Biddeford. Passengers boarding at Saco. And there's a train crossing the truss bridge over Route 1 in Biddeford. This is the former Boston and Maine station in Biddeford, now a sports bar, but it's kind of interesting. A number of former B&M stations are still standing, often repurposed. Oh, and here's an example of the diesel on the south end of the train instead of the cab car. This is the former Boston Maine station in Wells, which they named Wells Beach to distinguish it from another Wells station that was on the former Eastern Railroad line. This was just a few weeks ago. I hadn't known about this station, but I was working with a guy from Wells, Avery Suter, who was putting together a video about the railroad stations in Wells, and saw this station in his video, so decided I'd try to get down there and get a photo of it for you folks. I don't know, and there's the train going by. I don't know what's in that building now. There are no trespassing signs around it. But was able to climb up on a snowbank to get this picture. And into another rail fan from Connecticut who was just coming through, and he was there for the same photo I was getting. This is kind of a battered looking train coming into the current Wells station. And, NEPRA and Amtrak are going through a big expansion project at the Wells station. NEPRA wants to add a 6th trip a day. Yeah, I mentioned that one of the train sets only makes one round trip a day out of Brunswick. Doesn't leave until 11 o'clock in the morning. So it's sitting idle for a good part of the morning. So NEPRA thinks they can run a train early in the morning down just as far as Wells, and then run it north to carry potential commuters going into Portland or Brunswick. Their existing schedules that would take commuters home in the afternoon. So this was last fall. Construction was starting on this expansion, and it was blocking the track here. So this was a northbound train. Passengers that day all had to get off and take a bus the rest of the way. So this is what it looks like last month. It's a big project. As you see on the right, the existing Amtrak station. And so they've added a longer passing track. So there are 2 tracks through here. Let's see if I can get a review. And they've added a second platform on the east side so that 2 trains can be in the station at the same time. And as well as this big overpass to get to the other platform. So the sign that said this is supposed to be ready in the fall, so we'll see. And I think the proposed station, new station in Portland would be kind of the same concept. Don't have many photos to show you from New Hampshire, but this is the Exeter station in New Hampshire. We'll see a couple more later. And on down to Haverhill, Massachusetts. Here, locomotives pushing trains crossing the Merrimack River on a big bridge there. And here's another freight train passing us, local CSX freight at Haverhill. And, from Haverhill to Boston, the Downeaster takes a somewhat circuitous route. The traditional route was direct line from Boston North Station through Reading up to Haverhill. It had been single tracked when through train service ended, and I don't think there was enough capacity on that line to have the Downeaster along with all the existing commuter trains. So the Downeaster takes what they call the Wildcat branch, and it goes over to the MBTA's Lowell line. The branch connects with the Lowell line here at Wilmington. So this train, it's a northbound train leaving the Lowell line, heading on to the Wildcat branch. We are in Anderson-Woburn. One day I was there also with Mike. It was a pretty crummy weather day, but I got a few photos. There's a shuttle bus you can get here to go over to Logan Airport. This is at Medford, 2023. So the MBTA had just extended the Green Line light rail line up to Medford. It's a line that used to terminate at Leechmere. So we wanted to go down and ride this new light rail line, get some photos there. The light rail line pretty much parallels the railroad between here and Boston North Station. And you see Tufts University is right here. So this is a northbound Downeaster. Downeaster, of course, does not stop here. There's that train going away. Here we're just outside of North Station, looking across the Charles River. This apparently some kind of equipment move here because there's just one coach there between the locomotive and the cab car. So Amtrak does have a route around through Cambridge that eventually connect up with the Amtrak lines south of South Station, where they can take the trains for more for servicing they can't do at Brunswick. Another equipment move. So the highway bridge behind the railroad bridge is the Tobin Bridge, which is named after, I believe, an uncle of Roger Tobin, who's one of our former members, trustee, who died recently. But apparently the uncle was involved in Boston politics. It's a train crossing the Charles River coming into North Station. North Station with Boston Garden above the tracks. This was 2012. It seems like this station and the structure above it is constantly under reconstruction, adding an office building above it. Here's another view of the train here. The North Station waiting room. This also has been expanded the last couple of years. There's a bigger concourse area. There's the train board. You see listing a couple of Amtrak arrivals here. And this is the new facade at North Station. I think the construction here is now finished. This was 3 years ago. Now this is basically the end of the route, but I'll give you a little bonus here with the dome car. Amtrak added a dome car to the Downeaster consist for several weeks, early fall. This was in, at least the years I'm aware of, 2016, 2017, 2018. After 2018, Amtrak disposed of their dome car, the cost-saving move. I'm not sure if the dome car ran earlier than that. But this was the best way to ride the train. This is it was the full-length dome car, the Ocean View, originally built for the Great Northern Empire builder. Here's what it looks like before the passengers filled it up. The passengers could go to the lower level of the dome car. It was originally set up for buffet service, but on the Downeaster, the only food service was in the regular cafe car. So it was popular with the passengers, and it was kind of neat to see. I think most of these people had probably never been in a dome car before. So you see them coming up the stairs and coming into the dome car, and they suddenly break into a big smile. So here's the train in Brunswick. So the dome car was always on the north end of the train, cafe car on the south end. This is still in Brunswick. The siding there is part of a Y. I don't think the Downeasters ever used the Y. And the track goes on to the former branch up to Lewiston Lower. A lot of the track to Lewiston is still there, but been out of service for a long time. If you in Brunswick with the dome car. Here it is at Portland. You see the protect equipment off to the right. Kennebunk. Here's another former Boston, Maine station. Now there's another business in there. Crossing a bridge in Dover, New Hampshire. And the station in Dover. And this is Ballard Vale. So this is the north or east end of the Wildcat branch. The Downeaster is leaving the main line, that would be the MBTA's Haverhill line, and going on to the Wildcat branch to head over to Wilmington. Here we are, North Station, Boston. And that concludes the presentation. I think, yeah, we're lucky to have this service here in Maine. I think on the of the customer surveys, the train usually rates pretty highly, so they sometimes market it as America's favorite train. So just at this point, we can open it up to comments or questions.
If you have any questions, I think Sean may have to switch over for ones on Zoom. I know there was quite a few questions on chat, so.
Oh, there are some on chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll let Richmond answer some of those questions, or you can answer them yourself.
It was there anybody on chat here?
Dave probably had some questions.
Yeah, I've been,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
a lot of more comments than questions.
Good.
One of the last pictures, you said it was Ballard Vale. It's actually Wilmington Junction, where the Downeaster goes on to the deviates from the eastern route or the western route, whatever the hell it is, western route.
Okay.
And goes on to the Wildcat.
Yeah.
That's several miles, about 2 or 3 miles south of the Ballard Vale station.
Okay. Good.
And then you mentioned the Tobin Bridge, but the picture was actually the Zakim Bridge, which is substantially newer than the Tobin Bridge.
Oh, that's Tobin's the old
Tobin Bridge is a double deck steel monster, and the discussions have now are surfacing about replacing it, as it's probably getting close to the end of its useful life.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Well, you're the Boston expert. So.
I wouldn't say that, but
well.
I time my visits to the post office box with the generally with the timing of 683 going through Andover. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the Downeasters. Yeah.
I not monopolize things, but I did find it interesting early on when we showed the very first timetable that the Downeaster did not stop at Woburn.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
They have just come up the western route from Reading. And there was a period when they were doing about a year and a half, 2 years ago, they were doing a lot of track work on the Lowell line. And for a substantial period of time, the Downeaster would bypass Anderson and just come up through Reading. And then the next stop would be Haverhill.
Yeah, I think you're right. In fact, I think it was one time that I wrote it and it was diverted onto the Haverhill line. Well, it may have just been weekends. I know weekdays, there's more commuter traffic where they may have hard.
I think they've
How to
always,
do it.
I think the Downeaster has consistently had the same schedule on weekdays and weekends, but I could be wrong about that. Um, one of the interesting things I found out a couple of years ago was that the Woburn Anderson Transportation Center station has the lowest ridership in terms of boardings and detrainings of any of the Downeaster stops,
Uh,
which
oh,
really surprised me.
yeah. Um, I was going to mention that uh, Brunswick has become the third busiest
Not surprising.
stop after Boston and Portland. I think in the earlier years, the Downeaster carried more commuters from the closer in stations, but with COVID and the
Yeah.
move toward work from home, that ridership has dropped off some from commuters, but Brunswick has become more popular. I know it's back in 2015, 2016, when I first I moved to Brunswick. Yeah, I'd see relatively few people, just a handful of people would get on the trains there, but now you see more.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
Any more out there in Zoom land want to ask Richmond any questions?
Oh, yeah. Oh, somebody, it's
I want to know
uh,
how long before Jordan has some syrup available for us.
Oh,
We
right.
got plenty, Dave. We got 12-gallon bottled already.
All right.
Okay, okay, I see a comment. Liam says something about, let's see, as of 2025, these coaches have been put out of service. Right, yeah, those are the Horizon cars I mentioned, okay, it says it was due to rust and corrosion, which, okay, that makes sense.
And typically the Downeaster had been running with one Horizon car in the consist. And since then, it's mostly been a 4-car Amplead consist, including the cafe / first class car. But occasionally, I have seen trains with 5 Amplead coaches.
Okay, I hadn't seen that since they took the Horizon car off. Of course, the plan is that eventually it'll be replaced by new equipment that's, I guess, under construction or on order. These are the aero cars, I think they
Yeah,
call it.
it's the first aero train. Separate the two words. Has been on display, and it's going to Cascade service on the West Coast, and the timeline for that equipment to be introduced on the Downeaster is, I think, like at least 2 or 3 years away.
Right, not so.
It'll probably come along with the re-equipping of the entire Northeast Corridor fleet.
Right. Yeah, New York Times had a huge article about the aero trains as a full page thing. Yeah, they may be coming on.
Amtrak did a big publicity splash.
Yeah.
A week or so ago.
Okay. I don't know. Well, see if there are any other. It's hard to see if there are other comments or chat items.
I want to hear what Liam had to say since he.
Well, yeah, there's some.
He posted in the chat that he had things to say. So.
Okay.
Hello?
Well, oh, there's okay, there's something about extra equipment moves. Liam, did you have something to say about extra equipment moves?
Yeah, I was gonna mention a few things actually. In more recent times, mainly later last year, some MBTA, mainly Jeep 40 MC locomotives from originally from the Canadian National Railroad, ended up leading Downeaster trains northbound to Brunswick. Um, I personally never saw one myself, but I do know a few of them did end up leading.
Okay, so these were F40 diesels, you said?
I think there was a time where F4 hold on. I'm having some mic issues right now. I apologize.
Well, we can hear you fine, Liam.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can hear
okay.
you. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm basing it
okay.
off of the green thing. Um, yeah, there was one F40 and I believe two GP40s that lit up and subsequently came down back to Boston and re-entered service with the MBTA. Another thing I
Uh-huh.
know about extra movements on the Downeaster is on the Fitchburg main line at some point there was a Downeaster set that ended up running revenue service at least once.
As an MBTA train, Liam?
Yeah,
Oh,
as far as I'm aware, yes.
I
I-
suppose, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back.
uh, yeah, I mean, physically it's possible, I'm sure, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Additionally with the Portland station thing, not that it was mentioned or anything. I know I don't think NORAC, the Northeast Operating Rule Advisory Committee, has anything governing the conductor protecting the shoving movement back out of Portland. But I do think that it's just a sort of thing where the conductor will get into the NPCU, the cabbage, whatever, and protect the shoving movement back out onto the main. But yeah, I never heard them go for like a class 2 brake test on the radio or anything because I try to keep my radio on. But I will say it's fairly inconvenient that they have to diverge off of the main line to make that station stop, and I do support the change in location.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, certainly make it a lot more efficient, although the existing
True.
station has some advantages too. They share it with Concord Coach. And so there may be cases where people want to connect with a Concord Coach up to Bangor or something, or somebody wants to ride Downeaster one way and the bus the other way, can leave their car at the
Yeah.
Portland station. And I think the NEPRO was saying if they moved to a new station, they'd have some kind of shuttle bus service between Concord Coach and the new Amtrak station, but we'll see how that goes. And of course, there's a huge parking lot at the existing station.
Yeah.
The plan for the new station looks like a relatively modest parking lot.
Yeah, parking's a real issue with the new location.
Although, yeah, they, yeah, they say that they've done a study and they calculated how much parking they need. Plus, well, all part of the grand plans. They get a new Portland station. They'd also build a new station at Falmouth, close to the turnpike. Be a small structure, but maybe a bigger parking lot there. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the locations, but I guess the idea is that people driving from farther north to get on the Downeaster would maybe get it at Falmouth instead of Portland.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. To Liam's point about the backup move at Portland, and I'm no expert on this, but I think that, if the conductor's going up into the cabbage and basically calling the move back to the locomotive crew, because the locomotive crew is still in the locomotive on the north end, they wouldn't have to do a set and release because they haven't really changed ends. You know, when they get to Brunswick and really do change ends, then they'd have to do a set and release.
Okay. Yeah, so that may be one reason why, as I said, the backup move seems to be moved pretty promptly. So
I'd
They
say
do
the
it-
biggest thing with that backup move is just making sure that crossing near the main is protected before they
Exactly.
shove back over it.
Yep.
okay.
I did hear there was some not sure how far north it was, but I did hear there was some track work on the Portland subdivision today, and it affected Downeaster service.
Oh, today. Okay. Well, that's the one thing I said, that generally the Downeaster, I think, has pretty good on-time performance, but there's been a lot of track work over the last several years. The CSX upgrading the track, and that's hurt the Downeaster performance when there's been track work. And well, in some cases where they had the bus passengers around, and so that's the problem with any problem they have with timekeeping is usually due to the track work.
They had to cancel a decent bit of trains today. I think both north and southbound trains.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was pre-planned maintenance though.
Yeah. I mean, there've been times, well, when CSX was replacing ties that they well, they usually managed to replace trains with buses. I don't know whether they cancel trains and not provide any bus alternatives.
Typically, when the track work has been up further north, what I've noticed is they'll just tend to cancel a couple of midday trains.
Yeah, they sometimes cancel them. Yeah.
Yeah, CSX is weird.
Well, it's nice that they're working on the track and fixing it up.
It's a real
compared
railroad,
with,
not like Pan Am.
right, yeah.
Okay. Hey, Richmond, thanks for a interesting program. Lots of good pictures there. I'm going to sign off now, but thanks a lot.
Mhm.
Hey, Richmond, how'd you get those pictures
Oh, maybe I'm
of
not.
the of the train in motion from above? It looked like
Well-
you were on the train,
Well,
like in the marsh and whatnot.
that was a road overpass. Yeah, I wasn't climbing on top of the train or anything. Of course, I used to, from the dome.
What? You're
you
no
got kind
Alan
of
McMillan, I guess.
It is what?
You're no Alan McMillan, I guess.
Okay, okay. I guess I know
Alan's a
him.
retired locomotive engineer, but during his career, he was famous for climbing up on top of the locomotive and taking pictures.
Yeah, I haven't done it. Well, yeah, that
Stuff that
one.
would have got him fired now, but anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the engine was running.
The two pictures at Scarborough. That day was another one with Mike Banus. And the same day we got the photo at Old Orchard Beach, and we were driving north from Old Orchard Beach, and the train was coming along, so we found a road overpass. Mike stopped the car, and I jumped out. The train was coming right by. So, yeah, there was I don't remember the name of the road, but yeah, there's a road there.
Point, maybe.
Okay, sounds Pine Point. What?
Down by the clam bake, that'd be Pine Point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Pine Point Road, and then there's Pleasant Hill Road.
Okay.
That's a bridge over it.
I have to look at a map. I think it's, well, yeah, I have to look at a map to figure out what road that was, but. Okay.
Richmond,
Yeah.
Richmond, Bruce
Uh,
Williams call.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
Bruce
Bruce.
Williams. I'm wondering, is there any talk about extending the train north of Brunswick?
Uh,
No,
I guess it's all talk. There's the Rockland branch. There's been talk for years about some kind of service there. I, my impression is that NEPRA and Amtrak have kind of given up on the Rockland branch, the freight operator there, mid-coast switching, I think. That talks about
main switching service.
main switching services, I guess. Yeah, I mean, they talked about running an excursion trains there.
Let's
they-
just say, I've
So
been
it might be
I've been in
something,
discussion with them for quite a while about
yeah,
running an excursion, and they're taking their time to get their act together. Let's just put it that way.
yeah, and the other
When it
extension.
happens, it'll be a Mass Bay excursion,
Okay, and
but don't hold your breath.
well, and then even farther away would be the old main line up to Augusta and Waterville. There's studies, I guess, and talk, but and most of that track is in, but I don't think it's certainly nothing close there. That years away, I would think. Maybe
We
there'd be
should
some
all live
train.
so.
And then, of course, well, and then other people want to restore service on the so-called back road, Portland up to Lewiston and Waterville. That also would be a long ways away, I think. And there's other people are talking about passenger trains from Boston, Portland up to Montreal.
That guy's crazy. He's totally crazy.
I think so. The proposal was overnight sleeping car service, but the economics on that would be pretty difficult, I think.
I had a meeting with him once a few years ago, and it's not going to happen. Trust me.
Well, they're forgetting that there's a service just due west that does the same thing. It goes into Canada.
I mean, frankly, given what used to be a substantial amount of Canadian traffic down to the the main coastal area, you could see a possibility of a success of reasonable success, at least as a seasonal train. But certainly right now, Canadians don't have any interest in touching anything related to the United States.
That's the tourist business and on the main coast. Mm.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys have any questions?
Okay, I guess.
With that, I guess we'll close it, and next month at this time, one of the program coordinators, Jack Small, will be doing a program on. You got something like that? It's in the newsletter. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I remember.
You want me to help you out there?
Yeah, if you can. I mean, Jack's doing something. I forget what it was.
Oh, let's see. Jack Small will present the steam locomotive, a huge part of American history. Blah 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 blah. And more specifically, I guess he's focusing on the steam engine at the Gettysburg Railroad that had a boiler explosion a number of years ago.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
So I had to open up the newsletter to find the link to come on to the meeting, and it's still up here. So there you go.
Well, thank you. All right, well, that said, thanks for joining. We'll see you next month.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.